Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be trying out my first IG Live, so please be patient with me if there's any bumps along the way. I'll wait just for a moment or two to see if anybody jumps on. The first thing that I guess I want to say is that I want to try doing these little videos every once in a while. Basically just to connect with you guys, right? Like there's so many different things that we can do online. Hey everybody, thanks so much for coming on. Yeah, and I appreciate all the feedback of everybody following me and doing my reels. Also, P.S., you get my nice morning hair here. But I want to be able to work with all of you. So I did a poll earlier in the week, and when I do an IG Live, I will definitely put that out there so that you can give me some feedback of what you want to work on. And like skyrocketed hip mobility is what everybody really was wanting. So let's get at it. If you have a mat, great. If not, no worries. Just find yourself laying down on the floor. Take a moment bending your knees, windshield wiper your knees side to side. Let them drop down each way. And start to just pay attention to this whole hip area. Low back, even into your quadriceps. And then we'll end with our feet planted down. Paying special attention to our sacrum. So that is just below the low back, that bony part. We want that to be planted down onto the earth. We want to use our pelvic floor strength, our lower abdominals, to help hold this space nice and firm. So as you breathe and you exhale, draw that breath and hold a lot of energy here so that this place doesn't move. Keep the left foot planted down and start to bend the right knee in. If when you bend your right knee in, your hips shift and your low back presses into the floor and your tailbone gets light, then you've gone a little bit too far. So just back off so that you can feel the sacrum really planted down on the floor. Flex, dorsiflex the ankle, and let's keep the knee joint and the ankle joint nice and firm here. Now from here, we're going to extend our legs straight towards or away from you. So start to press that foot away. Again, paying attention to what the pelvis is doing. Can you keep it level? If you put your foot down on the floor and you arch your back, again, gone just a little bit too far. So pull that in, keep the strength in the lower belly, and if the foot hovers off the floor, totally fine. Bend the knee in. Let's do that a few times. Stretch it out. We want no movement anywhere else except for here in the hip joint, and we're getting some movement in the knee joint as well. When you bend that knee in, I want you to pull it in really, really tight without letting the hips move. Let's do one more now that we're hopefully getting this concept of not letting the hips move. Great job. Plant that right foot down. Let's move on to the left foot. It might be, or the left hip. It might be completely different. So as you pull that thigh in towards you, feel the compression. Feel that flexion in the hip. Flex your ankle as well. And now let's stretch that leg away from us. Paying attention to what's happening here in the pelvis. Making sure that we're not compensating by using our low back. This is something I did for years. I used my lumbar spine as a hip, and it's not a hip. We want to get our hip working to its fullest potential. Now you keep going, and I just want to explain how for some of us, if our pelvis is moving all over the place, maybe our leg is extending quite high. Or for others, we might have decent mobility here already so we can slide the foot down along the floor. You do what's best for you. It doesn't have to look exactly like mine. Finish up your last rep and then plant that left foot down on the floor. Great. So that was working on that compression of the hip, so that flexion of the hip. Stretch the left leg down on the floor now. Pick up the right foot, and we want the knee to stack about a right angle over top of the right hip, and same with the foot out. Now we're going to work that internal and external rotation. Let me actually just turn this way so you can see. I had a reel about this week. So we're keeping the knee stacked over top of the hip, and we're going to externally rotate in the hip. So we're bringing the big toe over towards the left side of the body as far as you can without anything else moving. Now send that foot the opposite direction, so internal rotation. This is something I really struggle or have to work on, or am working on. Baby toe goes out. So we go internal rotation, external rotation, and then internal rotation. Let's do a couple more. And you're fighting to get into the deepest position you can, really making sure there's no pain. So we don't want any pinching sensations or sharp stabbing sensations, but there may be a little bit of discomfort. Let's do one more. Externally rotate, and then internally rotate. Lovely job. Let's reset. Come on to the other side. Turn back this way so you can see this angle. So left leg is up. We're taking that external rotation first, so bring the big toe over towards the right side as far as you can. Now swing it over towards the left side. I find the internal rotation is the hardest for me. So external rotation, but you might find it different. Hey, Cairo. And then internal rotation. Again, we're working to make sure that nothing else is moving. So we're just moving in that hip joint, keeping the low belly nice and firm. And we're doing that by involving our pelvic floor and using our breath to hold our abdominals into activity, or to bring them active. Good. One more time each way. And then send that foot out. Great job. Set the foot down, bend the knees once again, and let's just do those windshield wipers. Release maybe a little bit of tension that you could have built up doing that. Plus, windshield wipers are just like my favorite. They feel so good. From here, let's roll on to our bellies. Now this exercise, sometimes you don't actually see a lot of movement in it, so you really have to focus internally on what's happening. I'm just going to keep my head up so that I don't get muffled in what I'm saying. Bend one foot up and flex the toes so that the sole of the foot is facing up towards the ceiling. Now our activation, we're wanting to start in the glute. And often we're going to use the low back, or we're going to overuse the hamstring. So I want you to see if you can really focus, maybe even place your hand on the glute. Put your head down so that you're not arching your back. Now, firing up that glute, that can mean so many different things, but what we want to target is some sort of engagement. You should feel that muscle contract. Keep the pubic bone down on the floor and think about sending the foot up towards the ceiling. So we're coming into hip extension. Now for me, I have a real lack of hip extension. It's something I'm really working on. So you actually don't see my knee leave the floor too high, and relax it down. Fully and completely relax. Engage the glute. Feel it in your hand if you're squeezing that butt cheek, and then send that foot up. And then gently release. Let's do 2 or 3 more. So squeeze that glute. Send the foot up. Maybe you have helpers like I do. And bring it down. One more. Squeeze that glute. Can you feel that activation underneath your hand? Send the foot up. And bring it down. Relax. Switch to the other side. Bend the knee. If you want, you can use your hand to help know if you're actually firing up that muscle. So we start to squeeze in the glutes. We have more than one glute muscle. Send that foot up towards the ceiling as much as you can without bending in the low back. And then bring it down. And squeeze in the glute. Send the foot up. And bring it down. There should be no pinching again, especially in the low back. If you do feel some sensation there, straighten the leg and just work on squeezing the glute muscle. Squeeze the glute. Send the foot up. And release it down. Let's do one more. Squeeze in that glute. Send the foot up. And bring it down. And relax that leg down. You can even bend both knees if you want and just sway them side to side. Amazing job, everyone. So that's what we're doing for the day. Just a little bit of hip mobility. A lot of it is a mind-body connection at first. So if you joined and you were like, oh, I'm not really sure if I'm getting this, feel free to reach out to me if you had any questions about what we did. If you liked what we did, send me a comment or send me a heart, and I will do more of these IG Lives. I want to connect with you and find more ways that we can just all move together. So thanks so much for your support today and coming out for my first IG Live. I was so nervous. I hope I did okay. Love all of you and have a great weekend.